some of the people on this call may have done tens or hundreds of different deals across different careers, but if you could just step us through the process. So we've got someone who's got their business ready, we've got someone who is interested in buying. Can you talk us through the process from heads of terms and initial offer, the typical negotiation phases, and then I guess we'd also stray into the valuation piece as well?
Yeah, so the negotiation and the valuation tend to sort of interlink in a little bit, but I'll try and keep it separate at the same time. So the negotiation is the majority of sellers will want to know what you're prepared to pay for their business before they will allow like deep due diligence. Well, that's a little bit like saying, tell me what you'll pay for my car, but I'm not going to let you test drive it or look at it before we agree the price. You can't do that. So everything is subject to due diligence. Everything is, well, I can't give you a price unless I get to see what's under the hood. So at the very, very basic amount, you want at least 3 years audited accounts, and you want up-to-date management accounts as well as balance sheet. You know, and list of employees and how long they've been there, and some basic due diligence. Once you get that, then you can start to go into further deeper due diligence. So say you agree the price, which we'll talk about in the in the valuation. You then get to see what's under the hood, and then it's a bit of a process. You want to get your legal guys on board, so to look at all the contracts. You want to get your accountancy guys or your corporate finances on to look at all the finances, because if you're gonna look for funding, you don't have to just think it's worth it, but the people who are lending you the money has to think that the deal is worth it as well. So the negotiation, I've got a rough rule of thumb that if it's the price that you want, it's on my terms, but if it's the terms you want, then we'll pay my price. So in that way, it's a very double whammy that you can't go in there and say I'm going to pay you this and it's going to be my terms, because you're not going to get the deal. You need to be very realistic on this. So if you want, say, £200,000, my terms are I will give you so much up front, a very small amount up front, or as little as I can, and the rest will be drip fed over a period of years. Or the more you want up front, then the smaller purchase price that's going to be. So that's what I mean about your terms, my price, your terms. So we've agreed the price. Then the sales process is to instruct solicitors, instruct lawyers. Heads of terms will go over, and heads of terms are effectively just a 1 or 2 page document saying we'll pay this. This is the deferment, i.e. what's going to get paid up front, what's going to get paid over a period of time. How it's structured, is it going to be a share price or an asset sale? And just quickly for the guys watching this, the difference is a share price. Effectively, if you just imagine you're buying the company warts and all, you're buying all the liabilities and all the assets. The only thing that is changing is the name at the top. So Raj comes off, JP comes on. So he was the owner, now I'm the owner. And the assets is very, you can pick and choose what you want. The majority of asset sales is we're buying the portfolio, where you can just pick up the group, you can pick up the number of houses and the goodwill, and you can just plonk it into your business. So if it's more than, if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 miles away and you just want the portfolio properties to manage, you would be an asset sale. If it's a really good business with a good name, a good reputation, it more than likely would be a share sale. Now, from a seller's perspective, you would prefer to sell the shares, i.e. the company, because you get what's called entrepreneur's tax relief. Again, disclaimer, this isn't any tax advice, but it is more beneficial. I don't want you suing me if it goes wrong, but it's basically you pay 10% tax. When it's an asset, it could be a lot of other sort of tax implications on that, depending on your personal circumstances. So, and then it's once you've agreed it in the heads of terms, then it's just full on deep dive due diligence from your accountants and your legal department. So the 3 sorts of due diligence is your accountants for your finances, your solicitor for your legal, and then you and your team need to get in there and do the operational due diligence to see what you need to be doing on day one. Is it a lot of work? So using that example with Joe Bloggs Lettings, and you get one bit of paper and it's out of date CP12, or they haven't done any Legionella risk assessments, or this, you're thinking, oh my God, I'm putting my name to this. How are we going to generate the staff in order to get in there on day one and put this right? And it could be worth a punt, or could it be like, we've walked away from deals, we've said, look, there's just too much work, no offense, but you're a mess. or listen, we've been in there and we're going to have to renegotiate the price. So that is why it's very important to say the price is this, subject to due diligence.
I've got one question on this, and to what extent do you focus in on deposits as part of your due diligence process? Because there's a range of ways in which people hold deposits, and although I think that the market is becoming better in terms of appropriate protection and the like, we've seen some horrible stories come out. Is that a specific thing that you look at, or is that just wrapped into your general operational?
100% do we do this. So again, you know, the checklist is massively in depth of the compliance. So, you know, you will have electrical certificates, you've got Legionella, you've got gas safeties, you've got your deposits, your tenancy agreements, you look at the covenant or the strength of the contracts as well. You want to have your guys look at the management contract, you want to look at the tenancy agreement, you want to reconcile what is in the tenancy agreement in terms of a deposit that is said, that is in the that is actually registered. So again, you might say, you know, Fred Smith, who lives at 22 The Avenue, has got a deposit of £500. A lot of people might say, great, he's got a deposit of £500. What happens if it says in the tenancy agreement that it's a deposit of £1,000? You're liable for what's in the tenancy agreement, not what's actually registered. So again, you want to do a comparable analysis or a good audit, and it will depend on the amount of properties. Anything like 100 houses and less, you would do a 100% audit. You know, 200 houses, you probably do a 60 to 70% audit. 300 houses, you might do a 50% audit. And depending on what you find, you might say, do you know what? I'm going to just bump it up another 20%. I'm going to check a few more, and then you can have a look. Like one of the guys that I did a bit of coaching for a couple of years ago wanted to. He was absolutely 100% aware that none of the deposits had been registered. So he said, "What do you think?" I went, "How fast can you run? Because you need to be running in the opposite direction." Literally do not touch them with a barge pole. So you know, it's those types of questions, and don't feel crap about asking questions. You know, it's your reputation, your livelihood on the line. Don't be worried about offending them. If he's offended, then that's on them, not you. Just by asking a reasonable question.